Welcome back to another RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. My name is Jerome Jones. You already know who he is. The man, the Mr. Legend. You already know. Very much. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Oh, man. It is the end of our top 5 list, and none other great position to talk about is the DB. I'm excited today. Are you excited, Ray?
I'm excited about football getting ready to start. Absolutely.
You can't say nothing good about DBs, man. It's nothing good about DBs. All right, well, we're gonna talk about all that, but before we do, we just want to give a quick thanks to our sponsor, which is Phenom Elite. As you see on the top of our screen right here, Phenom is this podcast is powered by Phenom, so we want to thank them for allowing us to have this podcast. Hey, man, if you love football gear, baseball gear, any kind of gear, the season's coming up. Fall's coming up. You guys gotta get your gear. You gotta look fresh for the season. Get you some Phenom gear on their website, phenomelite.com, where you have elite gloves. As you see right here, we got the red and the silver. We got some nice specialty gloves like the Kool-Aid one, and you got a whole bunch of other stuff like cartoon characters like the Looney Tunes. They got Warner Brother products like DC Comics. They got DC on there, so you get your Batman, Flash, all that great stuff. They have all that on there at phenomelite.com. Also, they have mouthpieces of all colors. So you go on that website, go in there, and go right up here to our promo code when you check out. It is IPH Football, and you get 10% off on that as well. So save you some bucks. I'm going to give you a quick little example. They actually did this last night on a podcast. They told me to open it. I was like, sure. So, quick color right here. Got the blue one, looking nice, spiffy. And I want to show you how good quality these things are. With the other glove. Look how thick that is. Look how thick that is, right? That's some good gloves from receivers. Right there. So, if you like these gloves, they feel comfortable. They're breathable. They got the little breathable spots right there. Nice and stretchy, so you don't have to worry about them being too snug. They got all different sizes. Look good when you have it on. Look good, man. If I was playing, man, Phenom would be the way. So get you some Phenom gear. Use that promo code. Some money, man.
What color is that, Jerome?
This is blue. This is like a light blue. It's like a I don't know what kind of blue. I can't tell you what kind of blue this is, which is bad for me. I took color theory in college, so that's bad for me not to be able to identify what color that is. But
I think that glove looked like it would look good with some Miami Dolphins gear, but okay.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, this was a little too dark for Miami. I think Miami's more of a turquoise to get something a little closer to like the Kool-Aid color in a sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have Miami colors as well. So you go on their website, you get every color that you can, Go in there, IPH Football, get 10% off, save some cash, and look good, and go wrong with it. So that's going to do it for that. So thank you all for sponsoring this podcast. Let's get right into it, Ray. Let's get into the DB, my favorite position. Let's do it. So if you guys haven't watched our previous podcast, make sure you go back and watch that as well. We talked about every other position. We didn't do special teams, or we didn't do fullback. No. That's no position, right?
Yeah.
But we did every other position. So go back to our YouTube channel. You can find it on there. But before we get to our list, Ray, I want to ask you, as always, what's your stance on these two positions in college football right now?
The corner class is good. Not quite as good as last year, but it's good. The safety class is not as good as last year. Not even close.
I agree. Not even close. Quarterback class is really good. I think the safety class, you got a number one, and then you got a couple of guys under that, maybe one or two, but it's a different type of tier. And then after that, one or two, everybody kind of like in the same kind of realm in a sense. So I want to see how your list pops up. But we're going to do the cornerback first. So top 5 cornerbacks in college football. Number 5, Ray, who you got?
I I do have a 5A and a 5B, only for corners. But again, I think it's a pretty deep corner class. Not quite as good a hot top end as last year, but still a good class. Number 5B, I have Jordan Hancock from Ohio State. And a 5A, I have Tacario Davis from Arizona. A little bit different of a player. Davis is like 6'4", a little lanky. Hancock is more still 6'1", a little bit more physical, but both good football players. So,
100%. Yeah, I like both of those guys. You said the guy from Ohio State, right?
yeah, Jordan Hancock is from Ohio State.
What's up, Drew, man? How you doing? Appreciate you being on. You haven't been on for a while. Appreciate you being on. He said, all about downs this class. Yes. We'll definitely talk about him. Will he be on the top of our list? We'll see. We'll definitely see. But love Davis. Yes, Davis is good too, man. But yeah, we're gonna talk about all those. But yeah, what was the other guy you talked about?
What's that?
What was the player you're talking about? Again, I'm sorry.
Jordan Hancock from Ohio State.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I know you're a big Ohio State fan. So,
well, I actually got my number 5 is a Ohio State guy, which makes me think you got him a little bit higher than me. I got actually Denzel Burke from Ohio State, so his counterpart. Denzel Burke, good player. Don't have a lot of interceptions in his career though. That's not my biggest knock on him. He's a very good player. He's very sticky. He don't allow a lot of touchdowns, catches on him. Solid with the tackle. Not greatest. I mean, there's not a lot of cornerbacks that are, but 6'1", 190. He had 18 solo tackles last year. 1 forced fumble and 1 pick. He had 2 career picks in his career. So the picks is a big thing for me. I used to not care about it as much, but the thing is, I got convinced that picks are a big deal, obviously, because you get your team an opportunity. So I gotta get your team an opportunity. That's where you go. And I know picks can be, subjective because sometimes you kind of go off that player, or teams don't throw out that player as much. And I understand that as well. But I think he's a really good player. He just don't have the pick rating. So I'm guessing you got him higher than this rate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had Denzel Burke at number 4, so I can just leave with that. I am a little bit higher than you, but I have him at number 4. So
Definitely. His lack of interception is something because it's very structured and he plays within it. I give you that. I give you that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the lack of picks could, affect that. Things like that, and teams just don't want to throw at that player. I understand that as well. So we'll see. But he's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. All right, Ray, who's got number 4?
I have Denzel Burke at number 4. I do. I have him at number 4. I think he's a little bit better than Hancock in that he's a little bit like his hips seem clearer to me. Like he doesn't when he turns, he doesn't take him a lot before he gets. Seems like he can turn and get to full speed a little bit quicker. That's all. So.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. Really good player right there. My number 4 guy is going to be a guy that you know very well, Ray, and that is Benjamin Morrison. He's a sophomore. Well, he's going to be a junior now. 6 foot, 185 pounds. Last year he had 3 interceptions. I think that is 9 for his career. So he had 6 in his freshman year. 3 last year. A guy that he was very high on a couple years ago. I remember, Ray. I'm talking about him as a freshman out there. Really good kid, man. Do you have him in your top 5?
I do. I actually have him 1 spot higher than you. It's kind of weird. Like I have him at 3. I have him one spot higher than you do.
Nice. Well, you want to talk about him now. So what you like about him?
Benjamin Morris from he's a Notre Dame kid. He's a good cover kid. He's actually fairly physical. I think he could probably play either boundary or outside corner. I think he's just a good football player.
100%. Yeah, got the good makeup speed with him as well. Long arms. Which he bulk up a little bit. I mean, 185 is what he's listed at right now. He could have bulked up. This is based on last year. So I hope that he did bulk up. Obviously, you don't want to lose too much speed when you bulk up, but I think he will be a good addition as well.
The thing I like about him is he just seems to has a knack for being around the football.
Correct.
So.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what I look for in corners now. I mean, like, you know, yeah, it's good to have great coverage and stuff like that, but if you're able to still, you know, just be around the ball, you know, that helps. It really does, especially if your team playing like, you know, a zone.
I mean, let's face it, man. This kid's been a player since he was a freshman.
Yeah,
he was really good game filming, and honestly, if it wasn't for the guys that are ahead of him are really, really good, he'd be the number one guy. He's very good.
I agree. All right, Ray. My number 3 is going to be Takaro Davis, and he is from Arizona. Really like this guy. Let me pull up his measurements real quick. But what do you like about him real quick, Ray?
I actually like him. I think I don't have him in my top 5, but if I had a top 10, I'd probably have it like 6 or 7. He's a good football player.
Definitely. Another one that kind of suffered from not having a lot of picks, but he's very rangy. 6'4", 194 pounds, really long, tall guy. You know, one can definitely beat you off of like beat off the bigger receivers and get him off his spot and things like that. You said no. I guess would you rather have? Would you rather they never be around the ball to great coverage?
No, but certain guys just have a knack for being there, like Benjamin Morrison. And I don't want to overstate how good he is because I am a Notre Dame fan. I don't want people to think I'm being because I'm not. But since freshman year, the kid has just had a knack for being around the ball. I mean, to me, that's instinctual. To me, it's not just all these kids are good athletes, man. They're college football players. The guys that are separate themselves are the guys that just have a knack for being Brian Dawkins. You just have a knack for being you have a knack for being Bobby Taylor, Troy Vincent. You have a knack for being around the ball. I mean, that's just how Darius Slay has a knack for being around the ball.
Correct.
You know, they're just dirty guys because, again, we're talking about corners. They're all good athletes.
Yeah, and I don't want you guys to get us wrong. Like, they're in our top 5 for a reason. They're not just, you know, we have them in certain spots for, you know, however we want to individually rate them. But they're in the top 5 because they're good. It's not, you know, it's 5 out of thousands of players that we could have chose. So, you know, I don't want anybody to think like he's at 5, so you think he's bad. No, we don't think he's bad. We think he's 5 because we like traits of another player. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with that. They are not all.
Well, no. We didn't say all of them were shut down corners, man. They honestly, dude.
Maybe one guy.
These guys, I'm not going to say any of them are shut down corners, but Benjamin Morrison has shown a knack again for playing the number 1 receiver on the other team and doing a very good job. And here's where my guys. Every guy I have in my top 5 has at least 2 very good years of game film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't and honestly, I wanted to see them improve from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. And then that's why I move them up into elite status. I mean, Benjamin Morrison, since rookie season, has been making players for Notre Dame that win games. So,
correct. Excuse me. I agree. All right, let's get to our number 2. Ray, who you got there?
Travis Hunter from Colorado. Not surprising. Some people would have him 1. Honestly, Jerome, you could take 1, 2, and 3, and by the end of the year, they could all be in different orders. But that's where I have Travis Hunter right now.
I agree. No, 100% agree with you. I like your list a lot. It's very similar to mine.
Yeah, you're gonna love my list after my number 1 guy gets you. So
I'm sure you have your number 1 guy is my number 1 guy, but I have Hunter at number 2 as well. 5 total picks in his career. 3 interceptions last year, 2 in his freshman year. He is going to be a junior this year, a staple of that, Colorado defense. Plays both ways. Some might argue that he could have been, top 5 on receiver list if he actually, stayed at receiver. Very athletic guy, could do both. I kind of hope that, Colorado use him a little bit more sparingly on offense this year. So I think they got enough weapons to allow Hunter to just defense and make his production be even better than this.
And that is my question about Travis Hunter. If he weren't playing 20, 30 snaps on offense in the game, would he be even better as a corner? That's the question.
I think so. I mean, I played receiver at one point. I played corner, Bill. I never played both. I understand how tiring it is to just play one side. Never let him know. Like, I know he got really good stamina. He's really good at what he does. But could he elevate himself even more if he had even more energy to fit into one position? So
I agree. That's my number one question, because I think it wasn't last year as much as the year before at the end of the year, because this kid was playing a lot of football then. Right. You would see him not play snaps at corner because he had a big gain on offense or something like that.
And Drew, you might be right. And if he only played one side, he might be the number one. He might be.
I agree.
But we don't know.
No, I agree. We've always said that, Jerome, for the last 2 seasons. We've been like, I wonder how good this kid would be if he could just concentrate on one spot.
Correct. And he don't want to. It's a little bit of him.
No, of course not, dude. Because honestly, Jerome, as a player, the more the coach wants you to play, the more you feel like, well, I should do it. I get it. But what I would like to see is maybe he plays on first and second down on offense, and then that's it.
Correct.
Or maybe he goes in there on third and long as a slot receiver, and then that's it. Don't give him as many reps on offense. I'm not saying completely take him away from your offense. Just don't give him as many reps.
Correct. Like how Michigan used Jabril Peppers.
Correct.
Every once in a while, they put him on an offensive practice.
Yeah, you got a wide receiver that needs a blow on first or second down. You want to bring him in a third and long. Yeah, that's fine. Don't play him 3-4 downs and expect him to go out and play corner right after that.
Right.
I mean, I just don't understand why you would do that. I mean, again, he's a talented kid, though, and you want your talented players on the field, so we get that part.
100%. No, 100% agree with you, right? All right, let's get to our number one cornerback in college football. I think we have the same guy. I don't have any of them here in hand. I can wave it up. But go ahead, Ray.
Will Johnson from Michigan.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't call corners shutdown corners. I think that's a term I'm not crazy about using. But I think Will Johnson, with his length and how fluid he is when he moves in and out of his breaks, he could be that guy.
Yeah, my number one guy as well. Not just a Michigan homer pick. It kind of is too. But man, being able to watch him every week and seeing what he does on the field. It's amazing, man. It makes me proud to be him. It makes me proud that he's a Michigan guy. Freshman year he had 3 interceptions. Last year he had 4 with a touchdown with that. He's staying at 6'2", 202 pounds. He actually is the highest graded player on the video game. Right? I meant to actually send you that. But he's the highest rated player on a video game. They just announced that today. So, rightfully so, man.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I would love to tell you, well, look at the last few games and through the playoffs, how well he played. But Michigan's defense pretty much played well all 3 levels during last year's season. So, but if you watch Will Johnson against Alabama, he was awesome, man.
You watch Will Johnson against Ohio State.
Ohio State? Yes. I mean,
one-on-one with Marvin Harrison, the number 1 wide receiver for 3 years. and they trusted him to be one-on-one with him the entire game. And I think that really messed up Ohio State because they don't get that look all the time, you know? So being able to
we talked about it last year, Jerome, that when you took him away from their offense, Michigan's offense was very vanilla, man. I mean, sorry, Ohio State's offense was very vanilla without Harrison Jr., man. They really were. They had a hard time making plays and keeping drives going when he wasn't on the field.
Yeah, and he shut him down for the most part. He got a couple of catches on him, but
you're not gonna completely shut. That's what I mean. I don't like the idea of shut down corner because you're not gonna completely shut down any receiver if he's good. But if you watch how he played against Alabama and Ohio State, it's like, wow, kid's good.
He was balling, man. He made some of these plays that won Michigan games, and some of them, man, it was incredible to see what he did, man. And you know, I'm super excited to have him back on the team this year. It's gonna be awesome because, you know, he's gonna have that much more confidence in himself.
It's gonna be interesting watching him play because Michigan's not quite as deep up front. They're still good, but not quite as deep as they were last year.
100%. So I'm excited about Will Johnson, man. And that's gonna do it for our top 5, man. So very good list, Ray. All right, let's get into our rising star, though. I do have a rising star this week. I want to hear your rising star.
There's 2 of them, Drum. I'll give them to you quick because one is a bigger, like Jabbar Muhammad from Oregon, 5'10", probably a slot corner. Played a little bit of slot last year. Very good football player. And Jordan Favors, I like to always put in the small school kids from Appalachian State. And he's another 5'11", 195. Good player at a good program.
100%. Yeah, when I think rising star, I think of guys that like I'm about to talk about. We were just talking about Will Johnson, his early success with Michigan. I think this kid is going to have very similar, type of success, and that's Avion Terrell from Clemson, man. A guy from Georgia, got to meet him. Obviously, he is the brother of AJ Terrell, who plays for the Falcons. I'm going to go out and say this right now. He might be better than his brother. I got to watch, Avion play Westlake down here in Georgia, and all-star kid, man, super fast, very fluent in his technique. He gets trained by one of the best DB trainers down here, and Oliver Davis. If you don't know about Oliver Davis, he trains NFL players like Jalen Ramsey, who's the corner from Carolina, blanking on his name, but the corner from Carolina. He trains a lot of players in the NFL right now, and Avion and AJ trains with him. And Avion was always the beast. When he went to Clemson, I'm like, man, this is gonna be nice in about 2 years. He got a lot of playing time as a freshman. I'm just like, okay, I was not ready for that. I didn't know he was gonna be that good this early. And he comes out there with a swag, we're playing. Right now he's on this is ESPN, by the way, not endorsed by them in any kind of way. But they have him at 5'11", 180. I'm sure he's a lot bigger than that. I've seen him in person a few months ago. He looks a lot bigger. He did have one interception last year, very limited playing time. But I'm very curious to see how he does this year. He got that the Caleb Downs kind of, Will Johnson kind of like early success type of DB. He's gonna be a name, man. I think he has potential to be better than his brother. What's your thoughts on him, Russ?
No, I'm a fan. I think he's a good football player. It's going to be interesting to see if Clemson's defense is better this year than it was last year, because they were a little better last year than the year before, but still not nowhere near good enough.
I will say I think Clemson's defense. I think they will. I really do think they got a lot of good talent in there. Now they're a little bit younger than they probably like.
What you just said is the key, Jerome.
Yeah.
There's talent there, but it's pretty young.
Yeah, it is pretty young. So we'll see how that translates. But the guys that they do have in there, there are guys. And we talked about some of them in our previous podcast, like Sammy Brown, I about to say Roro, not him. The other D tackle, I forgot his name now. I always want to figure out. Let's talk about somebody, I forget the name. But yeah, they have a lot of good young defensive players, and if they can have early success, like Avion Terrell, they're gonna be a good squad. They're gonna definitely be a good squad. All right, so let's get into the safeties. So our top 5 safeties in this class. So right, like you said, not the deepest safety class like last year, but still really good one. I'd like to hear who your number 5 is.
I do have a 5A and a 5B a little bit, Jerome. I mean, and I know people are not going to like this. I have Caleb Downs at 5B. I mean, again, I know he's a talented player, and I know he's on a great program now, but he still only has one good year of game film.
Yeah,
I don't. Again, we'll see. I know he's talented, and that's why I have him in my top 5. But I don't want to go crazy like some people want to go crazy right now. Like, you still have to see him do it on the field. I mean, Alabama's defense was good last year. Ohio State's defense was nothing special last year. Should he make them better? Of course, he's a good player. But before I'm going to put him in my like top 2 or 3, I need more than one good year of game film. That's all.
I give you that.
At 5B, I actually have Keon. I'm 5A. I'm sorry, Keon Saab from Alabama.
Formerly from?
I don't remember that.
Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. That's right. So you guys are trading players now.
Transfer. We had 2 safety transfer from our program, man. And they both were good, and that hurt me. And then a third one, Ron Moore, got injured this year. I'm like, so I think we're gonna still be good at safety, but it is hurt that all that happened within a few years, man. But yeah, both guys, man. I like both guys. I don't have Bob in my top 5. But I do have Caleb Downs. He's a little bit higher than my top 5. Like he's expected. But like both guys, Saab was a really fluent guy. I like Saab a lot. He's good in and out of breaks. Being able to get to the defender side, things like that.
Do you know where he's from?
No, I don't actually.
Glassboro, New Jersey.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? Ray, Michigan recruits in Jersey a lot.
They do. Well, all the Big Ten teams always have.
Yeah.
I mean, let's make it, man. That's why at one state, when Penn State was really getting good, they were getting a lot of kids from South Jersey then, man. They were one of the first teams in the Big Ten to do it.
Cesar Ruiz was one of them. And Jalil Peppers. Jalil Peppers from North Jersey.
Right.
So they dude,
it's funny. Like, people think, like, get me wrong, man. It's not. There's no places like Texas and Florida and California. Like, but New Jersey, for as small of a state as it is, man, there's a lot of good football players here. There really are, and baseball players too. Really.
Me and Mark was just talking about that because you just like he gave Jersey respect. People kind of down Jersey for whatever reason. I don't know why. But as far as football talent, Jersey got some good football talent, man. And it's a small state. It's and it is kind of comparable to Georgia in a sense because Georgia's talent is all condensed into Atlanta, really. And then like you got the rest of Georgia, and it does have some talent out there, but a lot of it's mostly condensed into Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Where Jersey is a small state, is all condensed into that one state. The difference is Georgia is a football state. Jersey is not. Jersey is more basketball, So
I mean, honestly, if you look around here, New York, Philadelphia, I think they actually produce more basketball players than anything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's good athletes here, dude, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, I don't get into all that stuff because I know that like down south in California, Texas, and Florida, I mean, those states produce a lot of good football players, dude.
100%. All right, let me get to mine. So I have a 5A and a 5B as well, Ray. I just actually noticed this completely coincidence, but both of my 5A and 5B last names start with more. So I'm gonna start with my first one is Malachi Moore from Alabama. Solid player, man. I want to see him have a little bit more production. Only three career start. Interceptions. Oh, sorry, no. He has 5. Yeah, 5 is freshman year. One the year after 2005. He didn't have one, and last year he had one. It's not as easy for safeties to get. Okay, I can't say that because it is easier for safeties to pick. But his pick rate is not that high, but he's a really good tackler. He's a really guy. I really do like him at 6 foot, 168 pounds. Really well-built guy. He's from from Alabama, so he's a really big kid over there. I want to see how he does this year. And then my other guy is another Moore. It's going to be Rob Moore from Michigan. Obviously, he's like I said, he's going to be out this year. I believe he's going to be out this year. But I still want to put him in here just because he's I just still want to have him in, but he's a good player. 4 interceptions in 2022. Last year he had 2 interceptions. Really good player. What's your thoughts on both of them, though?
I like both of them. I actually have Rob Moore at number 4. I'll start with that. Yeah. I have him at 4. I think that Rob Moore is, again, a safety who can play the run. He's a physical kid. He'll tackle. He has good movement skills. He moves pretty well for a 6 foot, 200-pound kid. He moves pretty well, and he's smart, and he's around the football. I mean, you can say that about most Michigan players last year for some reason, but he was another one. He's just around the football. So
the thing about him too, the reason why I still have him in my top 5 as well is there is rumors there's a possibility he can come back this year. We'll see. But that ACL, it's going to be almost at the end of the season. So he does come back. He's going to be till end of the season. But very talented player. I think he's going to be a senior this year. I think he will have. If you don't come back, I think he has eligibility to come back one more year. But if he don't, I still think he'll be a drafted guy. I really do.
No, I think he's definitely going to be drafted.
100%.
He would have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick. If he doesn't come back at all, he'll be a 3rd or a 4th round pick. If he comes back and plays well, he's an easy 2nd round pick.
Correct. No, 100%. Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that you want to have back.
It's weird because safety is a different position now. It used to be you valued having an inbox safety and a guy who was a true free safety. Now you kind of want a hybrid, a guy that can do both. Come up and tackle and play in coverage a little bit, and you play your nickel or your slot corner as much as a safety now. There's some teams that play both. Miami will be Baltimore is a team to play. They play like 5 defensive backs a lot of times.
Yeah. 100%. All right, so my next guy is my number 4. You just talked about your number 4, which is Rob Moore Ray. My number 4 guy is going to be a guy that you probably won't have in top 5 just based on how I know how you rank your guys. One year, he's a freshman when he did this, but his freshman year is amazing. Freshman year. That's going to be Dylan Beeman. I think that's how you say it. Beeman. Freshman last year, really good player. He had 106 tackles. 74 of them were solo. He had 2 forced fumbles and 6 interceptions last year, right? Very, very productive player, man. I remember when he played against Michigan, man. That guy was all over. So I was like, I thought he was a senior. I'm not gonna lie. When I see him play, I thought he was a senior. I was like, wait, he's a freshman, and they kept talking about it. I'm like, why are you talking about him? Then I learned he was a freshman. I was like, wow, he's very productive. He has a chance to be number 1 probably at the end of the season if he keeps playing the way he is. I can see him being number 1, by the end of the season. What you thoughts on Dylan, though, right?
I'm a big fan. I agree with you. The production is crazy. Only to 1 year, but really, really productive. And I think he could probably play anywhere in your defensive backfield. He could do a little bit of everything too, and he's very productive, man. Again, give me another year of that, and he's a first round pick.
So basically, you're saying you don't have him in your top 5, right?
I don't have him in my top 5.
I figured.
I mean, like, I don't have my top 5. I mean, honestly, like I told you, Saab and Downs, I have in my top 5, but they're, again, two guys that were really good on good programs for 1 year. You know?
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I understand why you wouldn't have him in there, right? But very productive. Again, I don't think I've ever seen a freshman do what he did. You know, I know he played for a smaller school, but they play a lot of big teams, you know. And like I said, when he played against Michigan, he was productive. He didn't do anything outstanding. Like, I don't think he had a back or anything in there, anything like that. But he was always around. He was always on the field. You know, he had a pass in that game. So, but man, he was all over the field. He was always running the ball. He kept, like I said, in the broadcast, I kept talking about him. I'm like, who is this kid, man?
He's very talented, you know. So I mean, again, if I am checking out draftable players right now, I've been watching game film on them, and so sometimes my rankings I'll let my where I think these guys will be picked maybe play a little part in where I rank them. Mm-hmm. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I do sometimes, you know.
That's fine. I like it. By the way, he's already 6 foot and 205 pounds from college. So let's see how he does with another 4 years in the weight room.
That's why, honestly, if Khalid Downs would have just stayed at Alabama, I may have rated him higher.
Yeah,
because I know what he was on Alabama.
That's true. Different program.
We'll see. You know.
All right, let's get to our number 30 guy. Who you got?
Xavier Nwampa from Iowa.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, you got me, Bray. You got me. Go ahead.
6'2", 210, physical kid with long arms. Had a very productive year as far as tackling. I think he had like 3 picks. Good football player. Again, around the football, tackles well. A hybrid type safety. Kid you could probably play some slot corner for you too.
You got me, Ray. You got me with their Xavier because I got a Xavier as well. And
that name, I sat here and trying to say that name for like a year. I'm like, man, that's a tough name, man.
I got Xavier Watt from Notre Dame, right, at number 30. One of your guys.
Okay, I have him as a rising star a little later.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan, but I mean, I do see him as a kid who's okay in coverage, but a good tackler.
Well, you know he had 7 interceptions last year, right?
He did, but a lot of that stuff was like not deep downfield. There was like underneath stuff.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
They still count. I get that, but they weren't like playing deep coverage. They were like underneath stuff where he jump routes. He's good at it.
Yeah. And you listen to the right star. Usually, I don't pick seniors in my right star. He is a senior.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have him. I have it listed as a sleeper. I think he could be a guy who is not going to be drafted as a guy who. See, my problem is in the NFL. Where am I playing him? I don't know if he can play free safety. I don't know that, but I think he can cover like running backs and tight ends. And bigger receivers, I think we'll have a little bit of a problem playing against faster kids.
So you use them just like the Eagles do with T.J. Garner.
I get that. And Miami will have a position for a guy like that too, but not every team will. You know?
No, I do that. Do that. Yeah. But if you get like a C.A. Connor Johnson type of role for him, I think
Yeah, if you
he
were
should have 9-pick season doing exactly what Xavier Watts did, So
if you're a team that wants to play three safeties, maybe take a linebacker off the field on early downs, he's your guy. But if you're not,
so the Eagles will have one.
Yes. Miami's that way. The Eagles, anybody who plays that Vic Fangio defense will have a spot for a guy like that.
Yeah, he was doing for Fangio too, though. I remember because there'll be times when
the only problem I have with Vic Fangio is because he's a brilliant defensive coach, is he will bury rookies, man.
Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of rookies in the secondary. So.
Well, that would be my problem. If they don't pick up the defense right away, you may not see until midseason.
I hope that's not the case.
Get me wrong. Maybe we're wrong. Cam Smith was a good prospect a couple years ago, right? He couldn't get on the field last year. We were playing undrafted free agents instead of him, dude. You may say to me, he's not getting my defense. Okay, you're going to tell me that kid who was undrafted is better than him? Then I got to question if you're coaching him the right way. There has to be something he could have done last year somewhere that he didn't have. He sat on the bench. He had 9 snaps all year, and 7 of them were on special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was part of it too. I don't know, Jerome. Again, maybe we're wrong. Maybe Cam Smith's not that good. We'll find out.
Yeah. It's hard for me to say he's that good. He's a good player.
But he was good at South Carolina. I know that.
Definitely. All right. Next, our last 2 guys. I'm very curious to see who your last 2. Since you don't have Caleb Downs, you won't be in your top 2. So, number 2, who you got?
Andrew Makuba from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas had a very good defense last year. This kid was very productive. Puts his nose in their tackles. Played on special teams for them, so he's a very valuable player. Again, this is part of my draft bias. It is. But he's a very talented player. Played on a good defense. Texas' defense was pretty good last year.
Yeah, definitely. I actually don't have him in my top 5, actually, Ray. But I heard about him. I didn't watch a lot of tape on him, but that's pretty much the reason why I don't know. Usually when I watch in Texas, I look at their offense, to be honest. And I haven't really got a chance to watch their defense. I will eventually, because we're going to be doing our team rankings and doing our deep dive into our teams right after this. So starting next week, we'll be doing that. Just to give you a little preview. But yeah, man, I don't know a lot about him. I haven't watched a lot of Texas football. I'm guessing I'm going to be watching a lot more now that he's on this side of the conference. But it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. What else can you tell me about him, though?
6 foot, 195. Did a little bit of everything for Texas last year. Come up and played run. Drops back into coverage. Does a pretty good job. Not as fluid as I would like a true free safety to be, but more physical than than a free safety would be. So he'll be a good player for you. Again, if you have a spot for a guy who covers well and is fairly well and is a good tackler, he's your guy.
100%. All right, my number 2 guy, which might be your number 1 guy, Malachi Starks from Georgia. 6'1", 205 pounds. Yes, he's from down here in Georgia, Jefferson, Georgia. So it makes sense that he's at Georgia. Last year he had 3 picks. The first season he had 2 picks. Really good player. He got on my radar when Georgia played Oregon, and then he made that really athletic interception against Oregon. It was a really bad throw by Bo Nix, but the receiver running a fly route. He stayed with him as if he was a corner. Looked back, and the ball was over his head. Reached back and grabbed it and got a a beautiful interception. So that's when he got on my radar. And then I've been watching him since. Really good free safety type of player. You can play him at corner if you wanted to. I think he's best served at safety though. Rangy guy, gonna be all over the field, back and forth, going to his junior year. So curious to see how you feel about him because it's only his second year. But then now going to the junior year, regarded as one of the higher safeties in this class. Want to know what you thought about him?
I have him at number 1, and again, only has a one really, really good year of game film, but it was exceptional and a great defense. And and again, I left my draft bias sway me here. I'm not gonna lie about it. But again, a talented player on a talented defense. So
yeah, definitely. And there was a funny saying. No, I'm not gonna say it's funny, but there was a saying that I heard is a defense is only as good as their sleep.
I don't disagree with that, but I will say in the NFL level, safeties are almost not a position anymore. Like you either cover or you don't. Again, if you have a safety who kind of is a tackler, then you're probably playing 3 safeties a lot.
Yeah.
And you're playing him as a linebacker.
This is the only reason why I will maybe 65% agree with that. Because I hear what you're about to get with that. I think edge rushers is the defense, right? But if you look at how teams are playing now, there's not a lot of, especially in college, not a lot of players that's under center anymore. A lot of them, quarterbacks rather. A lot of quarterbacks are under center. A lot of them are shotgun. So by the time they get the ball, all I have to do is 2 steps, and then throw it. You know what I mean? So if you have the safety back there, you could be doing that all day. 1, 2, 1, 2, before the defensive line get there. So
you look at name how many teams have really truly safeties that play all the time. I mean, Kyle Hamilton for Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of teams that have a true free safety, and that's all he does.
That's right.
But there's a lot of teams that play like 3 and 4 corners, and then they'll have one safety or they'll play 3 safeties where they do have a legitimate strong safety, then a free safety, and then the guy who kind of does a little bit of both, and they'll switch off and on between playing a linebacker spot. I mean, it's Vic Fangio is a weird one because he'll show you different fronts and then come with something completely different off the snap, which is great for the linemen, but it does make playing your secondary a little bit weird, where you're playing a lot of zone.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, all right, my number 1 guy is going to be Caleb Downs. Clearly a guy, and again, a little bit of this Georgia bias, because I am from down here. I get to watch these guys play a lot more. Watch Caleb Downs play at Creekside. I always get that confused because they got all these Creek Views, Creekside, Mellow Creek, blah, 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 down here. I think it's Creekside that he went. No, Creek Views that he went. But he's a really good player. Almost ended the Michigan run at one point that almost pick 6 that he had that, wound up being overturned. So really good player, very instinctual, hard hitter, a juice guy that's going to put you up there. I agree with you though, Ray. I do want to see how he does in Ohio State defense because it is a total different defense, total different defensive coordinator. And if they're going to do what the rumors are, is wanting to play with my running back too, that might take away from his production. So, I know me and you talked about this. You're not a fan of doing that, but if they do wind up doing that and take away some of his, give him a couple more offensive snaps, we'll see. And we talked about it with, it's different with Travis Hunter, who's going out there as a receiver and you don't have as much wear and tear on him, and you don't have to worry about. One thing he really has to worry about is stamina, where, Caleb Downs is at two positions where he's going to probably be hitting the most. Getting hit as a running back and hitting as a safety. So, not sure how that's going to work out if they do decide to do that. So that will probably play into some of my decisions back on the end season. But for now, I have him at number 1. I think he has that kind of confidence.
Here's an example where I know it's like the season that, like, if you look at draft boards right now, Malik Starks is a top 10 player, and he's played safety.
Mm-hmm.
That's very high for a safety, man.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton didn't go to the 14th pick.
Yeah, but he was rated as a top 5 player, though.
He was. It was just, again, ran a 4.6 40, and people went crazy over it.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I'm not gonna.
It's just funny though, Jerome, how like most people that watch college football knew Kyle Hamilton was a special player, but the draft guys talked themselves into not thinking he was that good for whatever reason.
No, I agree.
I don't want to. I hate to think it's biased towards Notre Dame because that would be kind of stupid. But I mean, all you needed to do was watch that one play, right? Where he basically is playing all the way on the other side of the field. The ball was thrown like 30 yards towards the sideline away from him, and he gets there. I mean,
anyway, it wasn't only that he just went across the field and caught the ball. Went across the field, caught the ball, tapped his feet, and got it in.
I mean, like, I mean, that's what people like don't understand. There's a difference between being a fast or track athlete and being a fluid football player, okay?
I agree.
That's what separates the good from the great. I'm sorry.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to our boy Dominic, who did like our video on Facebook. Right? Do you remember Dominic?
I do.
Yeah. What's up, Dominic? If you're still watching, appreciate you being in here and checking us out, man. Appreciate you. For sure. All right, let's get to our rising star. Ray, who you got?
Well, I have I'm not going to use Xavier Watts because I agree he's a senior. I mean, he just is a guy who I think in the right defense can be a very good player for you in the NFL. But I have Malik Dixon Williams from UConn, a 6 foot, 203-pound kid who for UConn did everything last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
tackled, covered, played special teams. He did everything. And my draft bias tells me he's a draftable player at UConn. He must be pretty good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, the reason why I laughed because you said I'm not going to pick the guy on seniors, and I just yelled at you for having a senior on your rising stars. And look at me having a senior on my rising stars. I didn't really realize. Well, my guy's going to be RJ Makers. I know I'm picking on it. I'm liking a lot of Clemson guys. I really feel high on Clemson. But RJ Makers actually had a rising stars last year. Kind of disappointed me, but I feel like he's going to have a better year this year. I got very slow last year with his production and really start picking it up more at the end of this year. But his 2002 year, he had 3 interceptions when he wasn't really a starter. Last year he was a starter. He had 3 interceptions, but still played pretty well. Had a 42 tackle. Did have a forced fumble. I really do expect him to have a better year this year. Like I said, for me to yell at you for having a senior, I have a senior on it too. But a guy that I think is going to be really good. He's actually going to be fifth this year. Make it even that much worse.
I don't think a rising star has to necessarily be a very young player. I think it's a guy who, like Xavier Watts for me, was good on Notre Dame 2 years ago, and then last year was way better. So that to me is like kind of like a rising star, 7
interceptions is not to see that though.
You don't see that usually,
Yeah, 7 interceptions is crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, and that's gonna be hard to replicate, man. We'll see how he does, but
again,
that's
Notre Dame is one of them teams that plays three safeties a lot, and he kind of did a lot of that for Notre Dame last year.
right,
So he was jumping routes like in the flat.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but definitely see. But and that's kind of my fear with CJ Garner Johnson. He plays that same kind of role. We already talked about it. He had 9 for the Eagles before getting injured. I want to know, was it 9 or was it? Sorry, now I got.
I think it was like either 7 or 9.
Yeah,
it was some crazy number. It was some crazy number, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Drum.
He got injured.
If I were him, I would be excited to have Vic Fangio as my coach. Because he has everything Vic Fangio is looking for: experience, talent, smart. He's a guy that really could have a really big year playing in the Eagles secondary this year.
Right, he only has 6. Where am I getting 9 from?
He only had 6.
That's a really good number, though.
For safety, that's a great number, though. Yeah, for sure. I thought it was more than that, to be honest with you.
I thought so, too.
It was like 7. I don't know why.
I think I was thinking he could have had 9 if he stayed.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, if I were him, I would be excited about having Vic Fangio as my coach. Because he's going to trust you, and they're going to ask him to play quarters a lot, and then be like one of them safeties will come up and play like a linebacker spot. And he could be either one of those guys. He could be a guy who could play cover just enough to play in the secondary, or a guy to come up the line of scrimmage and force a run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he only played 12 games in that season. That's why
he struggled a little bit. Well, Detroit's defense is not very good, though, man.
Yeah,
they need to get better, and hopefully they were better last year, but they're not good. The Eagles' defense, despite them not playing well last year down the stretch, the Eagles' defense has been good. So,
yeah. Well, that's gonna do it for us with the rankings, Ray. I do have a question for you, but I do have to bring it up real quick. So, Ray, have you got to see the rankings for the game?
For the teams?
No, the players. They have the player rankings now.
For the college football players.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of them. Why?
Gotcha. No, I was wondering if you've seen it. We'll probably talk about that a little bit more next week.
No, I have some of it. I mean, it's funny. We're talking about corners, right? And you can go through the draft you can go through the draft process right now, and Benjamin Morrison, Travis Hunter, and Will Johnson are all like top 15 players. 100%. So, I mean, they're all going to be drafted pretty early. I mean, I hate to even start talking about the draft already, but it's crazy. So,
Definitely. All right, so my last thing before we go for tonight, I want to show this real quick. Share the screen. So we were just talking about this last night, and I was like, "Ooh, this is really cool to pick on our podcast for this one." So, as you know, we have another podcast on Tuesday night called the First and Foremost Podcast, where we talk more high school, but we wind up talking about this that got posted on Three's website. These are the college football blue bloods. I wanted to know what's your thought on the blue bloods that Mr. Andy Staples picked on here.
I don't have a problem with any of them. I only have 4 of them teams. You know how I feel about this, Jerome. To me, the Mount Rushmore of college football is Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, and USC. But that's me.
I agree with all of them. So when I initially looked at this, I had a problem with Oklahoma a little bit.
Well, as a Big 12 team, traditionally they've been one of those teams, though, just like Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, but Texas is, to me, if I were to expand it, except for Oklahoma and Penn State, I love the rest of the list. What has Penn State done to be a blue blood? They've won 2 championships. Let's put a quirk in it, man. Okay? Really, one of them championships should be taken from them. But that's besides the point.
So,
I mean, dude, and here's the thing. This makes me sound like I'm a Penn State hater. I am not. My dad loved Penn State. But that's how I feel about it. I think that Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Texas, South Carolina, I had no problem. I agree with you. Oklahoma they've been that team. Don't get me wrong. They have at least 3 or 4 championships, I'm pretty sure.
I think he said 4 yesterday.
Yeah, I think 4. Because I remember 3 of them like right off the top of my head. So I think they've won at least 4. Again, and then Penn State's won 2.
Penn State was my biggest gripe on here.
They've not won anything. Like, man, I am the first one because I'm a Notre Dame fan and people bash Notre Dame. We all know that. And I'd be the first one to admit, yeah, man, Notre Dame has not been relevant since the late 80s. I understand that. Penn State's not won anything since before that. And when's the last time they went to a championship game? When's the last time they went to a Big Ten championship game?
Mm-hmm.
Let's calm down, man. Like, pump them brakes, man, with the air brakes. Okay, this is crazy. Every other team there, even Oklahoma, is more justified than Penn State. But them other teams, I love that list.
I agree. Now, the discussion last night was, most of them kind of agree with me on Oklahoma and Penn State. They agree with me on those. They can try to say Notre Dame, then you backtrack and say, he didn't say that. He said it, but he backtracked and said, no, Notre Dame, da da da. I'm like, dude, don't disrespect Notre Dame. I don't like Notre Dame, but I respect the crap out of Notre Dame because they are a very good school, very, very good school. But one of the biggest arguments that we had was about Georgia. And I wanted to get your take on that. What's your thoughts on Georgia? Because I know we have that recency bias. They've been really good the last 6 years, maybe.
Before the last 5 years, I probably wouldn't have Georgia on that list either. I'll be honest about it. But they've been so good for the last 3-4 years. I mean, plus they've always been traditionally a good football team. I mean, honestly, if I were going to take Oklahoma and Penn State off, just say that, I would put Florida State and Miami in their spot. Miami during the 80s, man, no one produced players like Miami did, man. Nobody.
I said that during the podcast the next time.
Nobody.
Like, Miami had the best 10 years of college football in the history of college football. The best 10 years. You cannot take that with them.
They literally went from 1 year 10 draftable players, the next year 15 draftable. It was crazy the amount of talent they were pumping into the NFL, man. It was crazy.
They had all their players drafted in 1 year.
Man, I mean, it's crazy how much talent that went through the University of Miami. Like, honestly, from the early 80s through the mid-90s. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. What they used to call it, the convicts versus...
Oh, the convicts versus the Catholics, yes. Florida State, man, when Bobby Bowden was there, and they've been good since then, but during that stretch, man, they were very, very good. Very athletic, very exciting, fun to watch.
Correct.
I mean, and of course, Clemson for the last 15 years has been very, very good. They've only won 2 titles, though, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they won 2.
I think 2. So, to me, they're Penn State of the 90s.
Yeah.
They're good. Nebraska's the same way. Florida's been really good. And they're, again, I think they've won, 3 championships?
Maybe, yeah.
I think 3 championships, Florida, for some reason.
I
think Tebow won 1, and one other guy won 1. I don't remember. Yeah. I think maybe only 2. But again, that's what I mean. If you're going to put Penn State there, then you could put Florida State there too, and Florida there, Clemson there. If you're going to put Penn State there,
I agree.
And again, this is not a bias towards Penn State. I respect their program. I don't respect everything that went on in their program, but I respect their program.
I think we all agreed on Penn State. with that, it's the same sentiment you have.
That's my thing. It was in Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's won 4 championships. For some reason, that number keeps sticking in my head. I think Florida State's won 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with Clemson, 2 or 3. Nebraska used to be really good. They've not been that good for a while, but they've won at least a couple.
LSU here, bro.
What's that?
LSU.
I don't even see LSU. Oh, is that all the way to the left, next to Florida State? That's so small. That's so small, Jerome. I can't even tell what that is. I see now. LSU before Penn State, especially the last 20 years for sure.
Yeah, I think LSU just has. Yeah, I don't think that has the
Auburn. Auburn was really good for a few years there, but
really good.
The shame of it is Penn State is good enough to be that team right now, and their coach holds them back. I don't care what, man. Again, I'm just telling you how I feel. I mean, you can disagree with me if you want. It's fine. I know their coach is not. James Franklin is not a great game coach, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get off of there, I do want to go back to Georgia just for a second, because Notch brought it up. He was like, "What outside of the championship that they recently just got? What is it about Georgia that makes them a blue blood?" And I was like, to be completely honest, it's recency bias. It really is recency bias. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker for 3 years was the best player in college football.
That's the case that Bacon was saying, because yes,
I respect Auburn, Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna say.
They only recently had championship success like they have in now, but back in the days they still pumped out a lot of really good talent. So
Absolutely.
That's what Bacon's decision on that.
Without a doubt. I do. I agree with that.
Okay.
I think Georgia produces a lot of great players. Again, man, like you could argue, like I know people don't remember, but I mean, I was young then, like early '80s when Herschel Walker was the man, dude. He was like Bo Jackson, Tim Tebow. He was the best player in college football.
Correct.
I mean, he was a legit track athlete with toughness, and was a good football player. I mean, like, man, you can't overstate how good Herschel Walker was at Georgia. You can't.
Yeah, no, I agree. He was very good. Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, man.
They're just like their guys. Like, there used to be a kid that played at Oklahoma. Wow, I'm not gonna remember his name now. Who was that guy for like 1 or 2 years, man, and then never did anything again. Marcus Dupree was a great college football player, dude, and then just like never did anything.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I forgot about him. You know, there's another good name.
Billy Sims at Oklahoma.
Who?
Billy Sims at Oklahoma. Billy Sims is a Hall of Fame player, dude. And if he didn't play on a terrible Detroit Lions team, he would be in the Hall of Fame.
100%. Let me get this guy's name correct for us. But he played at Oklahoma, running back. Not Oklahoma. South Carolina running back. Marcus Lattimore. Remember that name?
Yeah, he tore his knee up. Yeah.
Before he tore his knee up, kid was one of those guys, man.
He looked like he was going to be great. Marcus Reed was like more of a mental type thing, dude. Yeah. He lost his confidence and just never found his feet again.
Yeah.
Marcus Lattimore, remember that knee injury, man? Ugh. That kid had at the time, a Marshall Faulk jump cut, man. He was so good.
Yeah.
So good in college, man. What a shame.
Really shame.
Yep.
Sure. But yeah, man. So that's gonna do it for us today, guys. We do appreciate y'all getting on. Next week we will be doing college teams. So if you're in here, you have a favorite college team, and you want us to start off with that college team, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, right? Okay, you want to say something?
No, I was gonna say doing like we're gonna rank the teams 1 to
No, no, no.
10. Or,
We're just gonna do an in-depth analysis on them. Like we did last year. Like talk about the team, talk about how far everything like what their record might be. Talk about some of their players,
oh,
how they're gonna
okay, I got you. All right.
teach last year. Yeah, until the season starts, we got a little bit over a month. Yeah, something like that. A little bit over a month before the season starts, so that gives us enough time to get a couple of teams in. So if you have your favorite team, I know we're not gonna be able to get through all the teams like last year, because we had a lot of good topics this year, this off season. But if you want your favorite team and want us to talk about them, go to our YouTube channel. Where you can find it right back to me right here. You can scan that QR code or the one right under me if you don't mind pointing to it right. That QR code right under you. That can take you to our YouTube channel or all our social media. You can go on there, find it. You can hit your comment on there. We will comment back. Let us know your favorite team, and we'll talk about them next week. If not, I will make this list. So tell us what teams you want to see before, let's say, this Friday. So I can make up a list of race and can look up one of them. But let me know by Friday, and then we'll talk about your favorite team. We'll talk about, like I said, how everything is big on performance this year. Talk about some of the players on offense and defense. How some of the players. We're probably going to go into the coaching staff, things like that as well. So if you want an in-depth analysis of your team, please put that in there as well. So again, we want to thank Phenom for powering this podcast. Again, go to phenomelite.com. You get these nice gloves. They have them in all different colors. They have them in red. They have them in gray. And they have special ones like this nice Kool-Aid one. And they have like Batman and Superman ones and Looney Tunes online as well. So if you want to grab one of them and support us, go to phenomelitebrand.com. You get all that and save some money by using our promo code right up top, which is ICH Football, and save 10%. Look good on the field by the time season starts, and look good, feel good, play good. So that's gonna do it for us today, guys. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Ray, any last words before we get off?
No, I'm good, man. We've got like about a month before the season starts, so we're ready to go.
Yes. It's almost here, man. It's going good. Can't wait to get it. But we'll definitely discuss a lot of what's going on in college football when it comes. But for now, we're going to have our little in-depth analysis and have fun with it, man. So hopefully y'all come back next week and check us out, man. And we appreciate all the viewers in here, especially our guy, Drew. We appreciate you getting on as well. And our guy, Dominic. But, everybody else as well. So definitely, thank you guys for getting on, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.